I'd like to call our meeting to order tonight. As everyone is seated. I'd like to ask Chris Smith to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Surely. Veston, Bullock, Bergdorf, Cal, Chapman, Clay, Comisso, Kraus, Cunningham, Dawson, Demolowitz, Drake, Ethier, Feeney, Fine, Frenier, Grimm, Hogan, Andrew Joyce,
Here.
Raymond Joyce, Lakakis, Lockhart, Moriello, Mayo, McKnight, McLean, Lane, Mendick, Miller, O'Brien, Plotsky, Reinhardt, Simpson, 30, Stevens, Touche, Tunney, Ward, Willingham, 38.
I'd like to make note of additional sponsors up here with the clerk. Mr. Feeney. We have a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Miller. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion to suspend the rules passes. Mr. Feeney.
I'd like to introduce a resolution appointing Matthew Peter, County Legislator, to represent the 5th Legislative District.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Dawson. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, on the appointment resolution, all those in favor? Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Peter. Come on up. Take a brief recess, have Mr. Peter sign the book. Don't go away yet, Mr. Matt. He can't wait to get started. Take some photos, we'll sign the book, and then we'll get back to the meeting.
Matt, what you're going to do for me now is you're going to place your left hand on the Constitution, you're going to raise your right hand, and you're going to repeat after me. I,
Matthew Thomas Peter,
do solemnly promise and swear
do solemnly promise and swear
that I will support the Constitution
to support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Albany County Legislator
Albany County Legislator
of the 5th Legislative District
of the 5th Legislative District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice job. Okay. Nice to see you, sir.
Now, off to work, sir.
Mr. Moriello.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move local law T out of order and place it back in the
The motion to take local law T out of order. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Mendick. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, long roll call on the motion to move local law T up, out of order.
Certainly. Beston. Bullock. Bergdorf. Cal. Chapman. Clay. Comisso. Kraus. Cunningham. Dawson. Doc. Absent. Absent. Thank you. Demolowitz.
You playing hooky tonight?
Drake. Ethier. Thank you. Feeney. Fine. Renier. Grimm. Hogan. Andrew Joyce.
No.
Raymond Joyce. Lakakis. Lockhart. Moriello. Mayo. McKnight. McLean Lane. Mendick. Miller. O'Brien. Peter. Slotsky. Reinhardt. Simpson. Smith. Stevens. Touche. Tunney. Ward. Willingham. Thank you.
Measures Demolowitz and Dawson are back.
Mr.
Mr. Dawson? He's
Doctor?
signifying in the negative. Okay.
Thank you. Looks like 28 to 11.
Motion to take
Motion
local law T
defeated.
out of order fails. First item under previous business, please.
Resolution 350, public hearing on proposed local law D for 2019, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, to incentivize the use of reusable shopping bags and institute a fee on the use of paper bags in Albany County shopping establishments.
All those in favor? Opposed? Resolution 350 passes. For 351, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law E for 2019, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, prohibiting the sale of flavored tobacco products.
All those in favor? Opposed? 351 passes. For 352, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law F 2019, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, to require Albany County restaurants and eating establishments to provide straws and plastic cutlery only upon request.
All those in favor? Opposed? 352 passes. 353, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law G for 2019, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending local law 2 for 2018 regarding the Sustainable Energy Loan Program.
All those in favor? Opposed? 353 passes. Or 355, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law H for 2019, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending local law 8 for 2011 to modify the procedures for identifying individuals required to fill out financial disclosure forms.
All those in favor? Opposed? 355 passes. Or 357, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law F for 2018.
All those in favor? Opposed? 357 passes. Before we get into current business, I wanted to refer you all to item 408. There's been an update in the language for Resolution 408. The new language was presented at the Post-Public Forum Law Committee. This new language is what's being voted on, and a copy of that is on your desk. So you can refer to that prior to us voting on it. For 358, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Center for Women in Government and Civil Society regarding a needs assessment survey.
All those in favor? Opposed? 358 passes. Or 359, please.
Amending Resolution 11 for 2019 regarding electronic medical records and financial software.
All those in favor? Opposed? Or 359 passes. For 360, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Arjo, Inc. regarding resident care equipment for Shaker Place Rehabilitation and Nursing Center.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 360 passes. For 361, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Retirement Home TV Corp. regarding the purchase and installation of a satellite television reception system for Shaker Place Rehabilitation and Nursing Center.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 361 passes. For 362, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee regarding the Highway Safety Program.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 362 passes. For 363, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services and an interdepartmental agreement regarding the Stop Violence Against Women Act grant.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 363 passes. For 364, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Albany County Sheriff's Office regarding the Stop DWI enforcement program and amending 2019 probation department budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 364 passes. For 365, please.
Authorizing and directing the Board of Elections to certify its expenses regarding 2018 election cycle.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 365 passes. For 366, please.
Amending 2019 Crime Victim and Sexual Violence Center budget, the Victim and Witness Assistance Program.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 366 passes. For 367, please.
Authorizing the settlement of a lawsuit.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 367 passes. For 368, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application to the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority regarding the Clean Energy Communities Grant Program.
Ms. Stevens? Noted.
We have it.
All those in favor? Opposed? 368 passes with one abstention. For 369, please.
Authorizing submission of a grant application to the National Recreation Park Association regarding a 10-minute walk grant.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 369 passes. For 370, please.
Authorizing an agreement to the Town of Bethlehem regarding a paved connection between Grove Street and Del Mar to the Albany County Rail Trail.
All those in favor? Opposed? For 370 passes. For 371, please.
Authorizing a lease agreement with New York State Correctional Officers and Police Benevolent Association regarding Corporate Suite 19 at the Times Union Center.
All those in favor? Opposed? 371 passes. For 372, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Upstate Companies LLC regarding renovation work at 260 South Pearl Street.
All those in, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clarify what we're being asked to do here. We were told when the plan to move the Board of Elections to downtown Albany, that this is a no-brainer fiscally, that this would be good fiscal sense for us. And the architect said, when asked about the renovations, he said it would be under $100,000 to renovate that building. And now we're given a bill for $350,000 to renovate the Board of Elections downtown when we didn't have to move in the first place. Here, one of the main pillars of this move that would make fiscal sense. It's clear that it's not the fiscal sense that was promised. We were given an estimate of under 100,000. Now it's 350,000, and this is just for starters. It's likely to be more. So under those circumstances, I can't support this $350,000 spend.
Well, we ended a pretty costly lease there as well, so hopefully it evens out. Ms. McLean Lane?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I remind Mr. Grimm that also there were rental costs associated with that facility, and unfortunately, they exceeded, I believe, $3,000 annually. So this still does represent a cost savings. I do believe that the commissioners had wanted to have their own, wanted to go in there and make sure that that facility suited their needs, and certainly we were able to accomplish that. It is a little bit more money, but I do think it's an investment that over time, because this body isn't just meant to only think about this year's budget, we are to ensure following year's budgets as well, and that will represent savings. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bergdorf?
This resolution was somewhat robustly debated in the Public Works Committee. There were concerns that originally the estimates which were given to the Audit and Finance and Law Committees were between $50,000 and $100,000. And it was explained that that was a space planning analysis. It wasn't really an analysis of the physical plant and the needs. As chair of the Public Works Committee, I'm going to support this expenditure because I believe that now that we have gotten behind the walls and found that there wasn't the correct cabling, that there's now got to be new T1 cable installed, that they've met with the two commissioners, and they have reallocated some of the floor plans. I will tell you, they've taken up some of the county work force has taken up some of the flooring there, and they have found some material that you might expect in an older building, and there's going to have to be some containment and encapsulation work done. There's going to have to be $100,000 worth of electrical equipment installed. But I'm not here to relitigate the decision that was made whether or not to move. I think we have an obligation to provide the Board of Elections with the facility that they need. But there's one caveat that at the end of when I called the question and it passed out of the Public Works Committee, I asked the Commissioner, in the future, you need to give us better information on what we're doing, and we as a body need to ask better questions. So we're not facing the situation like we're facing tonight, where we were told 50 to 100,000, and the real number is now 319,000 plus a contingency, and we're surprised. We could have done a better job on the front end here, but that shouldn't stop us from going forward to have the correct facilities at Board of Elections. So I'm going to vote yes.
Mr. Drake?
Thank you. Just to clarify, I think the objection here is not, that people don't want to see the Board of Elections made appropriate for our constituents. I think the objection stems from that we need to be working with good information when we make decisions. I also want to rebut a fellow legislator's point about the lease fee. That is true that we're paying a lease to an outside party. However, as I pointed out many months ago, coming from this industry, I'd like to highlight that you have to take into account that there's also a loss of revenue by not leasing out the space that we are occupying. So conservatively, at about $15 a foot, which would be relatively expensive, that's about $250,000 in county revenue that could be brought in from other sources. So the difference between the lease, maybe it's $80,000 a year, that has to be amortized over 5 years. So I think it's important when we look at these financial decisions, making a point here of order, essentially, that we really do so with all of the facts so that we can make better informed decisions. And I'd like to urge this body to ask more questions and look more deeply into these things. Thank you.
All those in favor of 372?
Aye. No.
Now,
Those of you in opposition, please signify by raising your hand. 2 noes. Mr. Morial and Mr. Brown. 372 passes with 2 noes. 373, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Hosler and Jacob Corp. regarding mechanical construction services for the cooling towers replacement.
All those in favor? Opposed? 373 passes. For 374, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Direct Energy Business regarding the supply of natural gas for various county facilities.
Mr. Joyce, Mr. Stevens? Noted. All those in favor? Opposed? 374 passes with 2 abstentions. For 375, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Altamont Programming regarding employment services for 10 and safety networks.
All those in favor? Opposed? 375 passes. For 376, please.
Authorizing agreements for providers of home establishments furnishings.
All those in favor? Opposed? 376 passes. For 377, please.
Authorizing an agreement with community maternity services regarding maternity shelter and support services.
All those in favor? Opposed? 377 passes. For 378, please.
Authorizing an interdepartmental agreement between the Department of Children, Youth, and Families and the Albany County Commission.
All those in favor? Opposed? 378 passes. For 379, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the University of Albany School of Social Welfare for the provision of management training.
All those in favor? Opposed? 379 passes. Number 380, please.
Authorizing the renewal contract for reentry services for the RC Division of Criminal Justice Service.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 380 passes. Number 381, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Homeless and Travelers Aid Society regarding case management services for the county reentry program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 381 passes. Number 382, please.
Approving the Albany County Community Services Board bylaw.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 382 passes. Number 383, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Canal Corporation regarding reimbursement for marine patrol services.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 383 passes. Number 384, please.
Authorizing submission of grant application to New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2019 statewide interoperability communications grant.
All those in favor? Opposed? Denote my abstention. 384. 384 passes with one abstention. Number 385, please.
Confirming the appointment of a member of the Albany Convention Center Authority.
Mr. Stevens.
We have that.
All those in favor? Opposed? 385 passes with one abstention. Number 386, please.
Confirming the appointment of the Director of the Real Property Tax Service Agency.
All those in favor? Opposed? 386 passes. Congratulations, Maggie. Good job. Thank you for coming tonight, too. Not unnoticed. We appreciate it. Number 387, please.
Amending 2019 District Attorney's Office budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 387 passes. Number 388, please.
Amending 2019 Sheriff's Office budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 388 passes. Number 389, please.
Amending 2019 Department of Audit Control budget regarding municipal solid waste.
All those in favor? Opposed? 389 passes. 390, please.
Amending the 2019 Water Purification District budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 390 passes. For 391, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the state Homeland Security program, amending the 2019 Albany County budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? Denote my abstention to 391. 391 passes with one abstention. For 392, please.
Amending 2019 Department of Public Works budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 392 passes. As you were, 393.
Authorizing agreements regarding the Stream Winter Recovery Program funding and the purchase of a street sweeper and amending the 2019 Department of Public Works.
All those in favor? Opposed? 393 passes. For 394, please.
Amending Resolution 115 for 2018 regarding comprehensive health care solutions regarding billing and debt collection services.
All those in favor? Opposed? 394 passes. For 395, please.
Amending Resolution 312 for 2018 with Jerson Construction LLC regarding the renovation project at the Albany County Nursing.
All those in favor? Opposed? 395 passes. For 396, please.
Amending 2019 Department of Residential Health Care Facilities budget.
All those in favor? All those in favor? Opposed? 396 passes. 397, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property located on River Road in the town of Colony to the town of Colony for an open space.
All those in favor? Opposed? 397 passes. For 398, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property to the Albany County Land Bank.
All those in favor? Opposed? 398 passes. For 399, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property in the city of Albany to the Albany County Land Bank.
All those in favor? Opposed? 399 passes. For 400, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property in the city of Provo.
All those in favor? Opposed? 400 passes. For 401, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property in the city of Waterloo to the Albany County Land
All those in favor? Opposed? 401 passes. For 402, please.
Authorizing release of a right of reverter to title to 3510 Brook Street in the City Hall.
All those in favor? Opposed? 402 passes. For 403, please.
Authorizing refund of real property taxes in the town of Bethlehem.
All those in favor? Opposed? 403 passes. For 404, please.
Authorizing refund of real property taxes in the City of Albany.
All those in favor? Opposed? 404 passes. 405, please.
Authorizing correction of tax rolls for the City of Albany.
All those in favor? Opposed? 405 passes. For 406, please.
Authorizing cancellation of chargeback for unenforceable delinquent real property tax liens on 5565 Grant Hill Road in the town of Gilbert.
All those in favor? Opposed? 406 passes. 407, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law I for 2019.
Please send that to the Law and the Conservation, Sustainability, and Green Initiative Committees, please. 408.
Authorizing submission of a grant application to an agreement with the New York State Board of Elections regarding an electronic poll books capital grant.
All those in favor? Opposed? 408 passes. Local Law T, please.
A local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending various provisions of the Albany County Charter and Local Law 8 from 1993, subsequently amended for the purpose of incorporating term limits for certain county offices.
Mr. Drake.
Thank you. I'd like to address this body tonight. I think this topic has been well reported in the media and well discussed among the membership, but I think it's important to point out from whence this initiative came. When I first decided to get involved with local governance and run for election, I was tired of the same old, the status quo, the business as usual. I've spent most of my term trying to do some things that other people aren't willing to do. Why can I do that? Well, because I feel like I can operate independently, with integrity. I'm not worried about what the group or the party is thinking. I feel like I can be accountable to my constituents. Trying to bring that to the rest of the government, whether it be from Albany County, whether it be from the New York State, federal government. We all know that some people do a great job representing their neighborhoods. Some people do a great job being independent in how they review the proposals that are set forth, laws, etc. And they're willing to vote their conscience, they're willing to vote in the way that's most beneficial to their constituents, excuse me. But I think what's important about the idea, the concept of term limits, is it mandates new energy, new people, fresh ideas. Now I know that opponents of my proposed law say, well, if you're doing a great job, why should you have to go? And I get that. And certainly there are many men and women out there who actively, with energy, continue to represent their districts year after year, maybe decade after decade. But I also know that in every district is another person, or a dozen people, or even 100 people, with even more energy, with even more excitement, with great will, and they want to enter into public service, represent their communities. The power of incumbency is a deterrent to these people. The incumbents have the money, the political machine, the notoriety. We all know that incumbents win many, many elections, proportionally. This gives us an opportunity. 3 terms. First term, you learn, you do the best you can. Second term, hopefully now you're seasoned, you really understand what's going on, you've made some contacts, you've made some relationships, you've had an opportunity to tackle projects. Third term, it's your last. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. Nobody's going to withhold your campaign contribution. You can teach the newer people. You might even help somebody get the fire to come in and do a better job than you were doing. Now, what about the great people who are serving term after term, are there not other places that they can serve their community? I think there are, to be public servants. Political office, in my opinion, was never meant to be a career, whether a full-time or a part-time career, at least not in the same position. I think you can go out, run for senator if you like, run for your town council, go on the zoning board, contribute, but step aside so that somebody else can contribute in the role that you were playing. I'm not asking you to vote on party lines, whether you agree with the political establishment or you don't, whether you think politics are corrupt or you don't, whether you believe in machines or you don't. What I'm asking you to do tonight is to vote independently.
1 minute, Mr. Drake.
And to think about how do we help bring integrity and accountability to Albany County offices. Nobody in this room is going to lose a job, and I'll put that in quotes. It's not a job, it's public service. But if you're thinking of it as a job, you stand to lose nothing tonight because you get 3 more terms if we're passing this law tonight. How many of you need more than 12 years? Ask yourself that question before you vote. How many of you have 12 more years of fire, of advocacy, 12 more years of active participation? Because no community is served by somebody sitting for decades without contributing. So please think about this independently and vote the best that you can. Thank you.
Mr. Simpson?
Yeah, I'd just like to speak against almost all of the points of my esteemed colleague as a student of political science. As a practical matter, maybe some of his arguments might have merit on a much larger electoral position than ours. But as a candidate in my 3rd term, I had to hit the streets in February to get a lot of signatures, not as many as I could have gotten in September, but enough to get on the ballot. My opponent, unfortunately, was not able to get the modest number of signatures appropriate. But as a practical matter, I think it's an insult to the voters to say that they can't make a determination what's in their best interest. The thing that most troubles me is, I would agree that there's some representatives who are stellar, some less so. I would hate to see a mechanical ouster of people who are truly committed and truly effective when they're so few and far between. So for all those reasons, I think this is an ill thought out, ill conceived, and inappropriate thing, and I suggest that we all resolutely vote against it.
Call the question. Mr. Etienne? Question's been called.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Simpson. All those in favor of ending debate and holding a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Those of you who are opposed to calling the question and ending the debate, please raise your hand.
What was the question?
You're raising your hand if you want to end debate on local law T and hold the vote.
If you don't want to.
If you don't.
If you don't, correct. If you do not want to end debate on local law T,
Raise your hand.
I can hear the speakers, that's what we're here for.
This is democracy.
You need about 26 votes to.
let's just do a long roll call on the question that's been called. Long roll call on the question.
You need 2/3.
The question has been called, which has been seconded. It's in order to end debate on local law T. We're going to do a long roll call.
I'd like to speak on the
No, we
motion.
need 2/3. There's no debate.
This is not debatable, folks. We'll hold the vote. If you want to end debate,
It's up or down.
yes. If you don't want to end debate, we vote no.
So calling the question ends in the democratic process?
Correct.
Is that what we're doing here?
Long roll call, please.
Certainly.
This is exactly what this is about.
Mr. Best.
It's called democracy.
I'm sorry. Yes.
It's called smothering democracy.
Thank you. Mr. Bullock. Bergdorf. Cal. Chapman. Clay. I didn't hear you.
No.
Thank you. Cabesso. Kraus. Cunningham. Dawson.
Yes.
Demalowitz.
Yes.
Drake.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, folks. You're voting yes if you want to end debate. You're voting no if you don't want to end the debate.
We gotta start this over because people are messed up.
Let's take it from the top, Mr. Clerk. One more time.
All right. Dr. Dawson.
I voted yes.
I know you did. All
Mr.
right.
Clerk, let's
Mr.
start.
Kamala.
Mr. Clerk,
Yes.
let's start from the beginning.
Oh, okay. Veston.
Yes.
Bullock.
Yes.
Bergdorf.
No.
Hal.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Cabissa.
Yes.
Kraus. No. Thank you. Cunningham.
No.
Dawson.
Yes.
Kamalowitz.
That would be a no.
Thank you. Drake.
No.
Thank you. All right. Easier.
Yes.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Frenier.
No.
Graham.
Forcefully, no.
Hogan.
No.
Joyce Samuel.
Yes.
Joyce Raymond.
Yes.
Lekakis.
No.
Lockhart.
No.
Moriello.
No.
Mayo.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Thank you. McKnight.
Yes.
McLean Lane.
No.
Mendick.
No.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Plotsky.
No.
Reinhardt.
No.
Simpson.
Yes.
Smith.
No.
Stevens.
No.
Touche.
Yes.
Honey.
No.
Ward.
Yes.
Willingham.
Yes.
Thank you.
Debate continues.
Looks like 21 to 18.
Motion.
Yes. 21 to 18. Yes.
Motion fails. Ms. McLean Lane.
Thank you very much. I rise to speak against this resolution. I find it interesting that the sponsor of this resolution actually be an incumbent. And there is a 2006 study on term limits that were done in states where they imposed term limits on the legislature. And it showed, and I quote, unambiguously, that it reduced the power of the legislature to the power of the executive. So we are reducing our own voice. Additionally, I believe it is the voters that make this decision. When we arbitrarily instill, expiration dates on legislators, we're removing the power from the people to make the decision as to who should be their legislator. And some people make the argument that presidency, well, they did it for the presidency, why don't we do it? That is a singular highest position element that is to prevent a monopoly there. With 39 of us, that is hardly a monopoly. Thank you very much.
Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me first state I am appalled at the attempt to deny members of this body an opportunity to speak on this bill tonight. I am appalled. All right, secondly, on term limits. Now, there are strong arguments on both sides. By the way, that's why we should have been having this debate, okay? The reason I'm for term limits is because you realize 17 of the 39 members up for re-election, in 17 cases, there's no opponent. In a number of other cases, there's just token opposition. Because I heard today, the reason against term limits, it's anti-democratic. Well, how's that sound for democracy, that 17 people don't have any opposition, and a number of other incumbents have virtually a token opposition? So this idea, let the voters decide, they don't know who the challengers are. They don't have any money. The incumbents have the money. So it's not a fair fight. I'm not going to put the Gilliland Babe Ruth team against the Yankees. That's not a fair fight. So democracy is about equal representation. George Washington couldn't wait to go home when he finished his term because he didn't want to be a career politician. So when we talk about choice, it isn't a real choice when the deck is stacked against people on 4 term limits. But I have to tell you, I'm really upset tonight about the attempt, this is not the first time it's happened, to cut members off from speaking on a bill. That is appalling, and I hope I don't see a repeat of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say, Mr. Grimm, that your comments about the voters of your district or anybody's district are insulting, that they don't know what's going on. The people in my district know what's going on. The people in all 39 districts know what's going on. And if they chose not to oppose 17 members of this body, that's their decision, not ours. But that was very insulting. And by the way, the process of calling something a question is process. Something that somebody that's been here for more than 3 terms might know. And maybe somebody that's only been here for 1 term isn't sure. That's called experience. Thank you.
McLean Land?
Thank you very much. I rise again, and I will be very brief. I'd like to remind Mr. Grimm that there was an article in the Times-Union that my opponent raised in the primary, raised the most money of any candidate running for office. I didn't. And I spent a very small amount of money. And I did shoe leather, and I went door to door, and I care about the issues that my community cares about. And that's why they spoke with a vote for me for almost 70.4% of the vote. And I had a sprained ankle, and I had pneumonia, I had a broken toe, and I still did it. So I appreciate it, but thank you very much.
Mr. Demolis?
Fight for Mr. Gordon's rights to be heard.
Thank you, sir.
I may agree with him, but I think you have a right to be heard, as everybody in this body should have a right to be heard. That's what our elected constituents send us to do. As far as the term limits, look, I've heard this 8 times. Now, I'll be reelected in November for the 8th term. So I heard it 8 times, voted against it 8 times. But the simple fact is, these elections are one door to door. These are neighborhood, I'm friends, Babe Ruth leagues, Boy Scouts, neighborhood friends and neighbors who send us here. This isn't the Congress, this isn't the state Senate or the Assembly. We know everybody in my, I know everybody in my district, I'll speak for myself. I know the people in my districts, and I know the dogs there. That's the difference between running locally and small and getting reelected. And through the years, this body's changed a lot just through the elections without term limits. We have some members here tonight who are not going to return, in November. So, I mean, the voters, I get 4-year contracts. The way I just ran in the primary. I was fortunate enough the good voters sent me back. It was a contract I had with them for 4 years. They reviewed my contract, the work I've done, re-elected me. So it's done. You're not going to spend, you don't have to spend a lot of money to win these seats. You got to spend a lot of time, a lot of shoe leather, knocking on doors, and getting out and listening to your constituents and what they want. And I do agree with Mr. Drake about one thing. Come down and vote what your constituents want, and you'll be here. And that's the bottom line. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Drake? Yes.
I remind you, you exhausted your 5 minutes. You have 3-minute rebuttal.
There's got to be some caveat, right?
The rules.
Responding to Mr. Ward about the rules, it is a rule. We get that. But a gentleman had his hand up. And we passed hundreds of things. We talk about a small fraction of them. I think it's fair to be heard if a person wants to be heard. With all due respect to your experience, no offense,
I
okay?
was not trying to squash public debate. I called it the question. It's
I
up to us
understand
to
it was
decide
called
whether or not we want to-
rapidly, but people have their hand up.
We voted the way we wanted to, didn't we? That's our job.
That's our job. I'd like to correct Legislator McLean-Lee. This doesn't give power to the executive because the executive is also named as a term-limited officer. Several people have said it's insulting to suggest that our constituents may not know about other opportunities or other people who might be interested. It's not an insult at all. The fact of the matter is that committees choose these candidates. Committees back and support these candidates. Mostly the incumbents are backed by those committees. Mostly, regardless of Ms. McLean Lane's experience, the incumbents have a war chest of money that they accumulate over time. These are advantages that they have. And certainly people know their dog's names, Mr. Jamalis, I get it, they do. How many other people in your district, though, also know their names? Also have something to add? Also have energy? How many others may be afraid to run because they don't want to take on that opposition? They don't want to take on the fact that they know somebody has $100,000 in their campaign account. This is a bigger issue than just Albany County. At all levels of government, we see this. At all levels of government, we see this. You know what's also interesting is that people feel the need to talk while other people are speaking too.
And folks, if we could be respectful of one another, please. Thank you.
I came here to combat the very thing that happened here tonight, where a legislator wanted to contribute, in fact other people did too, and it was he or she was about to be cut off because everybody who knows each other said, we already know what we're going to do here. Long-term relationships, we're established. We're going to follow those people who've been here forever. That's what term limits is about. It's about making it more accountable, more transparent, level the playing field. Give everybody the opportunity. Thank you.
Ms. Cunningham.
I'm voting no. I was very interested in what I thought would be kind of a more robust conversation about the pros and cons of term limits. Instead, I was kind of disappointed because the sponsor of this, my colleague, Mr. Drake, kind of outlined the need for term limits in a couple of framings that I completely disagree with. One is that people who have been here for more than 3 terms have no energy and can't advocate for their constituents. That we need to invent a mechanism to propel energy into this institution, and it should be the number of years you serve here. I think that is nonsensical, and it doesn't even add up. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I don't know if I'll be here 3 terms. I haven't really planned beyond this re-election, which is my first re-election. I do think there's an awful lot of people in this body who've served an awful long time, whose constituents clearly return them to office, not because they have some big war chest that, you know, is dollars in the bank, but because of shoe leather and their presence in the community. I'm going to pick on my colleague, Mr. Ward, who is, in my mind, a classic example of a guy who is omnipresent in his community and gets reelected, I am sure, because you are everywhere and your constituents see you delivering. I don't know how many terms you served. I don't really care because I see you as somebody who is the reason we shouldn't have term limits. Here's a guy who's delivering for his community. If the residents of his community find value in that person's service, who are we to say, no, the clock is up and your time is done. Let's bring new energy in to create some sort of deliverable that the constituents will find more rewarding than what Mr. Ward provides. I think that is a fallacy of an argument. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. I think we should leave it up to our constituents who clearly see us either delivering what they want us to deliver, or they see us doing nothing. But, you know, to equate folks that have been here a while with having no energy, and by definition, because of the number of years they're here, they're not delivering for their constituents. I think that is very presumptuous for us to assume. And I think we should let it rest with the voters of our communities who clearly have a lot of brains in their heads and understand what they're doing when they pull the lever and they can tell authenticity and delivering for their community and really value in terms of what they're doing when they're casting their vote. And I would urge us all to maintain that power with the residents in our communities and vote no.
Mr. Grimm?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to my good friend from Green Island, I'm fully aware of what the rule is. I call the question. That's not the issue. The issue is how some of the members voted tonight. And I have to say I'm very disappointed because the intent was to deny members of this body an opportunity to have their say. To take a circumstance like Mr. Damalo, which we agree that we should extend the debate. He was against, he and I had different points of view on term limits, and we wouldn't have been able to hear that. We wouldn't have Ms. Cunningham. We wouldn't have been able to hear her either. So all the debate that I've heard subsequently was, and everybody's made good arguments tonight, we attempted to cut that off. And that is a serious problem. And if we attempted to do it again, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. Thank you.
It's also a problem that local law team languished in committee for months, and it comes out now. It's inconspicuous. It's been debated. Just note that. Mr. Ethier?
Well, it's obvious you're not talking about me, old people. But all kidding aside, I honestly believe we have term limits now. We run every 4 years. And every 4 years, you have to subject your name to the voters in your district. Either you're going to re-elect what you did, or you're going to put somebody up against you, or somebody's going to against you. And due to the fact that some of us are unopposed, I don't include myself in that, but maybe they're opposed because they're doing a great job, and nobody in the district wants to challenge them. There's that side of it's going too. But I honestly believe every 4 years we do our term, and the voters say you're in or you're out. And to protect for 3 years or 3 terms or 6 terms, it's an insult to the voters. Let the voters decide who they want to represent. We talk about machines, and we got $100,000. I don't have that, and I'm going for my 12th term. 12 or 11, something like that. We have one in between that. We had a challenge that's going along. But I go out every day, I meet my constituents, I talk to them, I try and help them, not only Democrats, everybody. That's the secret of being here, if you want to stay here. You talk to everybody. Don't talk on 4 weeks before election. I practice it 365 days a year. Every day I'm doing it, something for somebody, regardless of politics. And like my colleague Sean, maybe that's the way it is in the northern part of the county. I have no problem if somebody challenges me. The voters either say, Gil, we'll vote for you. We're not going to vote for you. And 9% of the city know who I am, and they know my record. That's it. And they want me in, they'll throw me out or vote me in. But that's nonsense about let's have a term limits or $100,000, a blue machine put you in there. I don't recall that ever happened to me. I recall myself going out, knocking on doors every time I ran, and thank God I've been successful. But I do it every day. Some of our people just do it occasionally. And then the people outside who want to get in on the game think, well, we got to throw people off, but do too much or don't do enough. Because I want to run. Well, run. Take us on. But don't go and oppose because the money's there or I don't want subject my name to the voters. No, we got term limits the way it is now, and I request that we all stand by that.
Mr. Reinhardt.
Someone said earlier tonight that they paraphrased me saying that not all Democrats are the same, and believe me, that's true. I actually am quite torn about this proposed law. I think I'm voting no, and it's because there's not clarity in my mind as to actually how this would be implemented, and I'm not totally comfortable with what the implications are. I think Mr. Drake has made some very good points tonight. I think some of those in opposition have made some very good points tonight. I do think, however, what I heard in this conversation that I think very strongly about is the influence of money in politics. Now, I think, I'm not sure who said it, but to run for the county legislature takes a certain amount of money. You'd be surprised how much that money can vary. I've recently learned. But I think for the comptroller, for the county executive, we're talking real money.
not the kind of money that we have to raise when we run for office. It's not just a matter for the countywide elections to do what Gary has done, which is to knock on every door and know everybody, or Sean, the way he knows everybody in Green Island, the way I know most of the people in my district. When you're running countywide, money really matters. I would love to see a bipartisan effort where we decide, how do we get money out of politics? Can we do it just in the county? If we could do that, I would be 100% behind that. To me, that really gets to the root of the issue, because I think what keeps people out of these elections, like the 17 that I think Mr. Gregg referenced, that are running unopposed, is I think money does play a role in that, even at our level, but even more so at every level that you go up, especially when you go beyond the county level. I just think that's the real issue that we should be trying to address, is the issue of money and politics. I think that's more critical than terminalism. Thank you.
Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a thorny issue, to say the least. I'd first like to say that I think anyone who votes for this tonight is not placing an indictment upon anybody who currently is sitting here. It isn't about that. I look around this room. I see a lot of dedicated individuals who've done wonderful things for their constituencies. What I don't see in this room are many people under the age of 40. Mr. Fine, I think, is, sure, Mr. Smith. If I'm leaving anybody else out, I apologize. But I know I certainly... 39. Mr. Flake, I'm so embarrassed. But I think there's an entire generation of people that make up a large part of our society that are not sitting in this room. And whether it's because they don't have the time, or the money, or the expertise, or the confidence to run, I think we shouldn't ignore the fact that one of the benefits of term limits would be to bring some younger people into the system. Hopefully some younger people, who knows, maybe it would end up being the older generation as well. But more than anything else, I really don't want this to be an indictment against anybody who's sitting here tonight, because for me, it's not. Because I do respect all of you, and I think you all bring special and different talents to this group. However, I would like to see, and I think we would benefit by seeing younger people part of this group. And that's probably not going to happen without something like this to perhaps force that to happen. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Peter.
Sorry, as someone who's 34, we don't.
Peter's
I say my generation doesn't need this bill to run for office. We're fine taking on incumbents. It's not the good old days where people talk about machines and things like that. So any excuse that somehow my generation is scared to run for office without the assistance of this bill is incorrect. I ran because I'm involved in my neighborhood associations. I'm involved in the Washington Park Conservancy, which is in my district. And I ran because I talked to my neighbors. I've run campaigns against incumbents. I ran against incumbents. It wasn't their amount of terms that caused me to decide to run or not run. It was whether or not I agreed with them on the issues. And to say that the younger generation can't stand up for itself without this bill is incorrect.
That's not what I was saying.
Mr. Simpson.
I'd just like to make a slight point of clarification. And for the record, today is my birthday. I'm 65 years young. I just want to respond to Mr. Grimm's inference that calling the question is somehow anti-democratic. I would submit to him respectfully that what we saw here today was the essence of the implementation of the democratic process. It takes a 2/3 majority to call a question. We didn't get it. But for those of us who called it, we realize this particular issue is one that has been robustly debated as part of the canon, and there was not many issues that were not already litigated. And so this was a totally appropriate thing to vote on because it's thoroughly been vetted. And so I just want to state for the record that what we saw here was an actual exercise in democracy in which the body as a whole did not have a majority, and therefore we did continue debate.
Amen.
Long roll call on local law T, please.
Local law,
I think I said forward.
Mr. Meston.
No.
Bullock.
No.
Bergdorf.
Aye.
Cal.
No.
Chapman.
No.
Clay.
No.
Kamisso.
No.
Kraus.
Yes.
Cunningham.
No.
Dawson.
No.
Tomolowicz.
No.
Drake.
Yes.
No.
Ethia. Meany.
No.
Fine.
No.
Frenier.
No.
Grimm.
Yes.
Hogan.
Yes.
Joyce Andrew.
No.
George Raymond.
No.
Lekakis.
No.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Moriello.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
McKnight.
No.
McLean Lane.
No.
Mendick.
Yes.
Miller.
No.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Peter.
No.
Plotsky. Reinhardt.
No.
Thank you. Simpson.
No.
Smith.
No.
Stevens.
Yes.
Touche.
No.
Honey.
Yes.
Ward.
No.
Willingham.
No.
Thank you. The ayes have 27, and the ayes have that backward. The nays have 27, and the ayes have 12.
Local law T fails, 27 to 12.
27.
Local law I, please.
Local law Act 2019, a local law of the County of Albany to establish clean air standards for waste burning facilities.
Please send that to the Law, Conservation, Sustainability, and Green Initiatives Committees, please. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second. All those in favor? Good night, everyone. Colton and Willow, if you're still awake, go to bed.